biggest and probably, and it's not just for Quantum of Solace, but it's not just the M issue is probably the second biggest issue against Daniel Craig being the same as all the other Bonds, but I completely showed you guys how that works, how it fits. Probably the biggest issue is the Felix Leiter explanation. And I actually can explain that. And here I go. It's quite logical. And first of all, Leiter is not a code name. It's really Felix Leiter, and he's the same guy throughout all the films. Again, I'm not going to go over the race issue. It's the same thing as I said in the previous videos about, just briefly, there's precedence for the same actor playing multiple characters and multiple actors playing the same character. So there's a precedence there. So race really isn't an issue. Anyways, the biggest conflict is, well, the first time we see Leiter is in Dr. No. And then the first time we see Leiter with Craig is in Casino Royale. And the reason I'm bringing this up now and not in Casino Royale is because Quantum of Solace actually explains it. And in Dr. No, it seems that Bond meets Leiter for the first time, but he doesn't. He knows Leiter. And he's sitting down with M. And he says, M, and this is at the beginning of Dr. No. Sean Connery's Bond is asked by Bernard Lee's M, do you know who Felix Leiter is? And Bond says, no, I've only heard of him. And Bond is he's flat out lying to M. And some of you might say that's a stretch, you're just saying that. But let me ask you this. When has Bond ever trusted M? When? He never does. He's always going rogue. He's always doing his own thing. He doesn't tell him or her the truth. Unless it has to do with helping the mission or some sort of heart issue, where they're connected with something. In fact, Bond actually lies quite often in the films. One example is in You Only Live Twice, when he meets with Deco Henderson. And he says, stirred, not shaken, correct. And Bond says, yes, that's fine. Okay, here's why. This is the reason why he says that. I've thought about it for years because I wondered, why does Bond say, it's the only time he says stirred and not shaken, and he's okay with it. Why does he say that? And many of you are probably wondering that too, because I've seen it written. I've seen people ask, why on earth does Bond say that there? It's because he's purposely lying. And the reason he is because he doesn't know who's behind those thin paper walls listening to them. And he doesn't want to be recognized for who he is. And shaken, not stirred is a telltale sign that that's who he is. So, Deco Henderson, played by Charles Gray, and here's evidence to support that he's lying there, because he lies to Deco when Deco asks him, have you been to Japan before? And Bond says, no, I haven't. And he's flat out lying. That's a hint. That's a hint to tell the audience, a really involved fan would know this. Because in From Russia with Love, he's with Yankee, and they're talking into the Leiter decoder. And Bond starts and on the other end is M and Moneypenny and some of the other heads of MI6 or heads of Secret Service or the government. And he says, one time in Tokyo, me and M, where's Tokyo, guys? It's Japan. So Bond and M have been to Japan. And this is prior to You Only Live Twice. And he tells Deco Henderson, I believe, or is it Hendrickson? I get that confused because of the actor who played Leiter. Anyways, Deco Henderson. And so he's lying there, and what happens is Deco is killed. He's stabbed with a knife. And so Bond, and this is proper, like a spy should do this. Like, this isn't like spies aren't going to tell the truth because they're maintaining cover and they're maintaining information that they hold for governments. So they can't be, and they got to be careful of who they're talking to. That's why Bond hits Deco in the leg, and Deco says, "I'm glad you got the right one," because one of his legs he lost in I think he says Shanghai. Anyways, moving on, we also have a precedence of this for Leiter in Quantum of Solace. Leiter does the exact same thing with his superior as Bond did with M, lying to M about knowing Leiter. Leiter is asked, remember on the plane, he's with Dominic Green and I forget his superior's name. Leiter's superior, the white guy with glasses and a bushy mustache. He's given a picture of James Bond, and his superior leans over, "Do you know who this is?" and asks him, "Do you know who this is?" And Leiter says, "No, I don't." And he's lying, because he met Bond in Casino Royale. In fact, he approached Bond in Casino Royale. Then his superior looks at him strangely like, "Come on, dude, you're giving me, BS." And he says, "That's James Bond, man." And he looks at him kind of like, "You know who this is? Like, how do you not know who this is?" And so we have Leiter doing the exact same thing in Quantum of Solace to his superior as Bond does to M and Dr. No. They're both lying. So, and the reason is they're maintaining their relationship. They don't want to, because they don't trust their superiors. And it's a minor lie. Like, it's not like, "Hey, where are the nukes?" or I don't know, it's just relationship stuff. So, and this is how spies would function, and we see it in the rest of Dr. No, and when Bond has that brief little scuffle with Pusfella and Coral, and Leiter comes up behind him, well, Leiter, they're acting there because they're in front of two people that they don't know the relationship with. Leiter and Bond can have it, but and here's the thing: the directors, the writers, the producers, they captured this perfectly. They captured the relationships of spies perfectly. Spies aren't going to be publicly friends. They're not going to sit there, and act like they're buddies together, unless they know the coast is clear, unless they know everything's okay. And one of the things here's the thing: Leiter recognizes Bond from his tailor and his gun. So they know each other. You can tell in their interaction in that scene. And then Leiter says, "We saw you driving off with the opposition, so we weren't sure about what was going on with you." And so that's kind of the thing too, is like they're friends, but they're primarily loyal to their governments. So they're going to be cautious. Leiter and Bond are still going to be cautious with one another. Remember, this is before License to Kill. And they're cautious with one another because their primary goal is protecting their nations. Their second goal then is like they will be as friendly as possible as they can. In fact, we see Leiter do this in Quantum of Solace when they're sitting down at the bar. They're kind of having a discussion, and it's not too friendly. It's cordial, but then he warns Bond, He's like, how much time do I got? And I think he says like 30 seconds or something like that. But it's that whole idea of having boundaries with the spy relationship, being secretive to everyone around them, knowing their own relationship, but also being secretive with one another. So you have that, and I'll tell you what, man, the creators of these films, they did a spot-on job with it, But that's pretty much, that's how spies function. Trying to think of anything else that I can bring into that. Other than because they're friends, because they're allies, there is an element of trust, and they're going to protect one another's anonymity so that they can have information sharing and gathering, especially to a superior they're not too fond of or trust. Leiter does not like his superior in Quantum of Solace. The guy's a douche. And Bond is just, it's not that I don't think Bond dislikes M. That's not what I'm saying. I think Bond is just weary of M, and for something that minor, of whether he knows somebody or not, he's going to keep, even his response to M, no, but I've heard of him, is kind of like a little white lie. So he's not, he's in Bond's mind, I'm sure he's kind of like partially telling them, hinting that, yeah, I've heard of him. So he's not completely doing a disservice. But yeah, that's it.